Hey guys, hello and welcome to Spud Life with me, your host, Tatty Tim. Okay, so here's a little taster of what to expect in this week's episode.
If anyone ever wants to criticise the winter driving and say it's a bit chaotic, it seems to be all over the place. One, we've absolutely got the health and safety stuff covered because it's really important to us. But the more that people do join in, and they do, like you say, there's some people that we call the golden horny people, who are people they are part of the parade. They kind of look quite druidy, but they literally, some people say to me like, "Oh, how did you create an am?" I went, "I didn't. I had nothing. I do know who they are, but I kind of no, it was nothing to do with me. I couldn't claim that." And so, and those kids will think that that's just
the norm.
This is this thing that we do in Penrith. You know, it is a tradition.
Because you work every day on a 101-year-old bicycle.
I know.
Now, will a bicycle that's been made today still be around in, you know, probably self-combust or something by 50 years time? But it's that same sort of thing.
Unless they get them from Arrogance.
Of course, because they aren't actually sponsoring this show, but maybe you should be. Hello and welcome back to another enthralling episode of Spud Life. I've got a fabulous guest for us today. But as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, we are both literally still in our work club. We've both just finished work. It's actually quite early for the show, this one is, but it's not going to default from the fantastic content that we're about to put into your lives that you'll never forget about. We have got the one, the only. He is the legend of Penrith that created the winter droving, which is totally unique to Penrith. It is a mixture of a sort of pagan festival and a ancient rites of passage type bizarre thing. You've got to experience it to see it. We're going to talk about that tonight, a bit more about Adrian's sort of life, how he's got to the point that he has in this life so far, and see what happens in between. So ladies and gentlemen, I bid you Mr. Adrian Lochhead.
Thank you very much.
How's it doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming on. It's been nearly a year that I've waited to get you on the show because I wanted to get the timing just right because the driving's coming up into this month, and I thought, well, there's no point getting him on afterwards and telling everybody how great he is, and you've got to wait a year. So my logic in thinking was get him on before, we'll big it up, not that it needs bigging up, and then even thousands more people will attend it.
Get me on when I'm really busy, because it's on in 2 weeks' time. But I ain't got time to do anything.
Exactly,
no
sleeping.
Hey, come
over. It's only over the road.
But maybe this will be sort of like a therapeutic break from my busyness over there, or the whole team.
Because you'll be on the outside now looking in, won't you? And you'll be kind of like saying, this is what it's all about. This is what we do.
Maybe I'll work out what it is that we're doing, and what it's all about.
But it is. I mean, it is so difficult to try and explain to somebody.
I was listening to you trying to. I was going, go on, then.
Go on. To me, it's like trying to explain what Branston pickle is to a foreign tourist. Where'd you start? So,
well, it's. I think it's one of. It's a. And people hear about it because it kind of gets into national papers and stuff and all that sort of stuff, and they kind of, it sort of ranks alongside things like chucking cheese down the hill and running after it. It's kind of like
it's got into that level.
It kind of
it's that sort of quirky British.
I think people, people that what those funny country people do, and they've been doing it for centuries. Not really sure what that's all about, but as you kind of use that word pagan in there. Is it pagan? I don't know. I sometimes get people. I've had a thing about it. People go, "Whoa, you made a pagan festival." I didn't, right? I didn't. It wasn't. That's I have no real kind of belief or anything around anything. But what we do have is a combination of masks. So we encourage everyone to wear a mask. And why that is that if everyone does that, then that becomes the whole theatre of it, So if instead of you going to something and you stand back and watch it, because I don't like that sort of stuff.
People become part of it.
I kind of like, and I think we've got to create our own fun. And fun that isn't just through a screen and all that sort of stuff. Kind of, it's really important
because it is totally interactive, isn't it? The whole day, it's absolutely fabulous.
Another principles that I kind of have is it brings people together. You know, that again, in various projects that we do. I mean, I can mention some of the other things that we do, but I definitely feel that anything that brings us together is a good thing. You know, I mean, I like football. You know, I like that sort of feeling of going to the football and standing next to And,
so Winter Droving's a bit like that, but without the aggro. You don't get the Carlisle version of the Winter Droving turning up and having a big ruck.
There's no big ruck at Carlisle. It's like, oh man, I was with my lad lives in China now, in Shanghai, and he's like 30, and he's a good footballer. So I've done all that thing of standing by the side and watching your lad play, and shouting abuse at 10-year-olds, you know. Not right, and then actually getting sucked into becoming the secretary of the club and all this sort of stuff that happened when I lived down south then, and he was over and he's really into football. I said, let's go and see Carlisle United, because I live in Carlisle, right? It's just down the road, and we went along, and as we were going down the street, there was these sort of, I mean, the thing was, so me and my son Fergal, we've watched football around Europe. We've followed the international teams, and we're a fan of a big team, and we've been privileged to be able to get around and follow all that sort of stuff. And then we were sort of laughing because going down Carlisle Street, there was then we were surrounded by these police. It's like about 30 15-year-olds dressed. Sorry guys if I've really offended you.
Just
but kind of dressed in black. I don't, it wasn't me. but we were like going, all right, there's going to be trouble. Not really. But it was nice, I'm not knocking it. It's like kind of, it's great having that spirit and that. And it is that same sort of thing. I mean, you're saying it's like without the aggro. Things that bring humans together, and we kind of,
because they're very few and far between nowadays, aren't they?
I think so.
Everybody's like, everything's virtual. I mean, there's me like on a podcast talking, virtual. But
everything's just through a camera, and that's awful.
But you're all invited to come and sit at the back and join in if you want.
Well, there's enough space. That. You're right. Sit down, man.
But you know what I mean? It's kind of like the world does seem to be going into a less. Interactive with humans, but interactive with technology more, doesn't it?
Yeah. And does it really make it better?
I don't think so.
No, exactly. No. It's kind of there's.
Do you think it's our generation though? Because we know different, don't we? And unfortunately for the people, I mean, we can say unfortunately because we know what they're missing. But these guys growing up, this is just the norm to them, isn't it? You know, and they'll be in 50 years' time. They'll be the guys sitting there going, no, whatever happens, then they're going, oh no, back in our day we used to put things on our eyes and we could, so and
now we don't leave our rooms, we just sit there kind of. I mean, there's a book, I kind of remember really, books in your life that really struck you. And there's one called The Machine Stops by some I can't remember, brothers. I'm gonna make up a name, so I'll just say the Machine Stops, and it's about this sort of, this was written in something like the 1920s, I think, and it was about this dystopian future of where I kind of think it starts with, imagine the future where everyone's sitting, imagine it like human hives, and everyone just sits in their own little thing, and there's a screen, and there's this thing that comes and cleans you up and all that sort of stuff and feeds you. Nightmare, right? But we've got to be careful about. We've got to keep preserving, I think, the sort of human side of, and the strangeness of us getting together, and the oddness and all that sort of stuff. I think the other thing as well is about, for me, is like an awful lot of stuff is really, even the live stuff, it's for me almost over organised. Which, I mean, if anyone ever wants to criticise the Winter Droving and say it's a bit chaotic, it seems to be all over the place. One, we've absolutely got the health and safety stuff covered because it's really important to us. We're really on the event organising, but I want it to feel like there's stuff just like, there's somebody doing that over there. Oh, what the hell's that? That's happening there. And also that the people, everyone's owning it. That it's theirs. You make it what you want it to be. That the people here own it.
But it does come across as that, because when you're standing there all day long like I am, and you see it, because I see it, I'm in the kind of semi-privileged position of watching it.
You get a good spot. You're right in front of a stage there.
Except when everyone's right in front of me and I can't see what. Except I usually am serving food at the same time, but there was a downside. But I get so I've seen you now. So in like 2 weeks prior, and already, like, I know last Sunday you were out. All the buntings are coming up, and even today I've asked, people have said, that aren't from around here, they've said, well, what's all this about? And I've trying to explain what the window driving is. So, and then I get to see it because I know you're there the night before. And so I know what time you get there in the morning, which is like stupid o'clock in the morning on the actual day. And then I see it all evolve, I'm there for the whole of the day, and then I see it all get closed down
and it disappears. It's mad the way it's not there, it's there, oh, it's gone again,
and it's gone. So I'm in that lucky position to see, so I know exactly the amount of work that's involved, you know, crazy. Just on the physical putting up, let alone the preparation. It must take all year.
I work very hard.
We heard it here first, folks.
I think some other people, they do some stuff, but not much really. No, it's mostly
you could do it by yourself. They're just getting away.
I don't know what they do.
I know. Well, I noticed that in the day. They're sort of always there with clipboards and that, looking important, but they're not really doing much.
It's just a sham,
isn't it?
No, there's only one person really doing it.
See, it wasn't lost on me. That wasn't lost on me.
No, I have a great. You've got right. Okay, we've got to go there. I've got a great team of people I work with, and then there are volunteers. But you know, so there's some people that are paid. I mean, we have a principle that, you know, if it's something that has to be done, you've got to pay people. It's a job. But then there's volunteers that support us with. I don't know whether it doesn't have to be done, but it really is enhancing it. And that gives people a kind of a way into it as well. You know, people want to help out, but I don't really want to do a job or whatever. But we have, as you know, we have a great team who work with us all year round, because we do lots of other projects as well. The winter driving is probably our biggest.
Your sort of pinnacle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's the biggest sort of one-day event where we've got thousands and thousands of people. Some of the other stuff that we do is really quite small, and we're really interested in doing sort of, you know, I mean, we have this sort of our reason to be is to be useful. We kind of have this thing about culture. We're a cultural and arts organisation. How can we be useful? So actually, the drove-in to us, the use, although it can be like, some people kind of think it's just basically a big street event, street party and all that. To us, when we first started it, it was about me, I suppose, feeling like Penrith needed what I called a signature event. You know, so something that other places like Hay on Wye, it's got the book festival, you know, that sort of thing, or you know, Edinburgh's obviously got all the festivals there, but where you sort of become identified for it, and something that so that's kind of helps tourism. It helps to bring people to the town. But then there's also civic pride. You know, that people can be proud of something. You go, that's what happens in my town. That's a special thing here. And I really kind of felt it did need that. So that was us. I didn't know what it was that we were going to do, though. I kind of felt that we needed to do something.
Did you ever envisage it being the size that it is now?
No, I probably wouldn't have even started. Be like, oh, I don't want to do that, because it is, you know, part of it as well now has become like, oh, right, we've got to do that again. You know, it is demanding. You know, and we've. You know, some of the days when we start over there, I'm coming in going, right, God, there's 2.5 weeks to go. We haven't got that done. We haven't got that done. It's kind of, there's a bit of, you know,
pressure,
cracking in the whip going on. There's throughout the year, there's funding problems, raising money. It's a constant. And then also, the content. So there's things that don't change. Wear a mask. The lantern procession, the fire torch procession, which is all the thing that makes it look pagan. But the acts and stuff that are in there, I'm constantly looking for stuff. It's a kind of a mixture of local stuff. We do a call out for local things, but also I think it's good to bring things that are found elsewhere, and you hope that people kind of are inspired by this and go, "What's that? I've never seen that here." You know, because
that's what's the winner of it is as well, though, isn't it? Because even though it's the same, it's completely different every year as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of, and I know in what way it's different. Because I know what the program is, but we actually do. There's some performers that we kind of regularly work with, and we've kind of. You almost sort of try to develop a feeling of like a whole company. Like my background was in theatre, right? So kind of, you know, and you know, a piece of theatre. You need actors, designers, the sound people, the lighting people, the director. You need the whole thing
for it to work.
It cannot work with just, you know, there's no one more important person apart from the actors, obviously.
That's what they all say.
But, and everyone's, you know, saying what they do behind the actor's back.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, you know, going, yeah, that's what you think. Oh, sorry, did that fall on your head? You didn't give you that prop. Bit of egg on your face now, isn't it?
Improvise.
Yeah.
See how good you are at that.
Yeah, go on then. Is that the sound of the sea? Oh, it's a train. Oh, right, okay. Keep going. What was I saying there? So no, it's a kind of, you know, that's how we operate at Eden Arts. You know, it's a whole team effort.
But it is good as well how it's got that stable that everyone goes for, like we said, the talk show. But it wouldn't have get stale if you did have the same performers every year and the same things. Yeah. But the fact that it is always different. Yeah, there's the odd crossover. There's a few that are similar, but most of the day's entertainments are completely different from the year before.
Yeah, they are.
So it brings that curiosity of people. It's kind of, I wonder what it's going to be this year. And, you know,
and we're particularly used to. We've always sort of gone. You know, the finale part might be different. I mean, I don't know if you've clocked over the years because it's been really. I mean, we've slightly become now that it ends with a good band.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
But previously, we had when we were first doing the modern version of it, because obviously it's been going on for centuries, right? The
minstrels back in the day.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's, you know, we just picked it up from the, you know. I was reading this book about the medieval times, and I've been to Drovin in there, and I thought, oh, we should do that again. That's how that happened. And so one year we finished it. Kind of, I look back at it now and think, wow, we did that. We actually showed a film. We made a film. We got some funding to make a film that was all about these people travelling. It was kind of like a people travelling to the Droving.
Right.
This young couple in the 1800s, I think it was set. And we made this film and showed it. And you kind of think that was a crazy thing to do. Yeah. I'm not sure now. I think we have got established that people go we want a band, or we want a bit of a jig around. But we still, you know, we could put on. It could end with a circus show. I don't know. You know, it kind of depends on what happens, really. You know, what comes up, what I discover, what I bump into.
Because have you noticed that more and more people are totally getting really into it? Because year on year, you see people that are just costumes, and it's. You know, and it's almost like a cosplay event in some ways.
Yeah.
You know, because some people they must spend an absolute. Because some of the masks are just fabulous that they wear, and then the outfits that they wear, and it's like I'm still surprised. And even people from Carlisle that I tell about. There's one girl in particular. She kind of knew it was on, but she didn't realise it was as good as it was. And she was at last year's. Yeah. And she said this year she's going all out. Because she's that sort of person that would. Yeah. But she said I didn't realise it was so fantastic. She just came in like a pair of jeans and that. Yeah. But I think this year she's going to be. People will probably think she's one of the street performers. Right, yeah. But that's the good thing about it, isn't it?
There are groups, we know them. We know who they are. Who kind of. I mean, the more that people do that, the more it makes it better. You know, they are the theatre of it. So we've got stuff that we've booked. We've got acts we've booked. We've got all that. But the more that people do join in, and they do, like you say, there's some people that we call the golden horny people, who are people they are part of the parade. They kind of look quite druidy, but they literally. Some people say to me like, "Oh, how did you create an album?" I went, "I didn't. I had nothing. I do know who they are, but I kind of no. It was nothing to do with me. I couldn't claim that. Yeah. They've made it better than anything that we might have done. Yeah. They've done their thing, and they contribute in.
Well, that's the good thing about it, isn't it? Yeah. You know, the inspiration that the event had on them. Yeah. So every year they must look forward to that and think, wow, I can't wait for the Droving.
Yeah, well, what are we going to do? They spend months planning it, and they change the costumes and all this sort of stuff. I mean, another thing that really gets me now is that, you know, you get when we were putting up the decor stuff around the monument on last Sunday, was it? I'm losing days. That there's kids who, in the modern version of it, weren't alive, right? Yeah. And they coming down the street going, oh, it's a Droving. It's going to be a Droving. It's going to be a Droving. You can hear them. They know what it is. Yeah. And so, and those kids will think that that's just it's
the norm.
This is this thing that we do in Penrith. Yeah. you know, it is a tradition.
Yeah. Because they've never known any different. They'll have been pushed down when they were kids.
Yeah.
And they've enjoyed it over there. Now they've become teenagers.
And this is the thing that happens in my town.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, the other part of it as well. I mean, this happens every year, and it kind of always makes me blub as well. You know, people send us emails or they reply to we do a sort of a survey thing saying, what do you think? Yeah. And the things that people are saying there, you know, about how you know, it makes them feel proud of their town, how they tell their mates from elsewhere to come up and see it, which is that's everything.
Isn't
you know,
it?
It's
just
everything.
From your idea. And you've created this.
But you don't sit there going, oh, yeah.
Don't
you know?
No. I do. No, I don't.
He invented the potato. He didn't. But he thinks he did. It's okay, Tim.
I'll keep taking the time.
That. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes people think that you're kind of going to be big-headed about it all, and kind of go, way you're not. You know,
you're always blown away.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes every time, right? And actually, this is from the first year. The first year we did it. In the modern version, because it's been going on for centuries, obviously. Yeah. But the first time that I was involved in it, we'd made these lanterns, we'd put out stuff on social media, and sent out some emails. But it might have been just us lot doing a parade through the town, and maybe 200 people standing there in the rain watching a band. Yeah. That might have been it. And we turned into Middlegate because it came down that way. Because we've learnt as well about which roads do you, how do you do, where do you go, and it's changed over the years. And turn into Middlegate, and the streets are all lined like three deep. I'd say there was maybe 3,000 people there, and you're literally like you just choked up, right? You think, wow, look at this, this is amazing. They've all come down for this, and you can see that people are really engaged with it. Now I know that's going to happen, and still it's like, wow, isn't this
I think that's the great thing about Penrith though as well, is because over the years since I've studied it, I've noticed that whenever something is put on, people do embrace it, and they'll turn up, and they will kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, patronise it for, so whether things eventually fizzle out and die, it doesn't, but initially people will respond well. Yeah, so
they will. They're kind of well, neither of us are from here.
No, exactly.
So we can talk about it.
We can say whatever we like about people from Penrith, and they can't do anything about it.
and mostly, and you started off saying positive things, so now we can say.
So you're going to be devil's advocate.
I think because there can be a bit, and I think it is a little bit particularly around here. Kind of like if you go with an eye there, they go, oh, I'm not sure about that.
True.
Sure about that. But then, quite right that what you just said is that then you go like this and you go, oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Our idea was great. That was. And I actually, I want people to feel like they own this. It's always it's not our thing. It's but
I think that definitely comes across when you're there on the day. There doesn't seem there's no kind of us and them, and you can't do that, you can't wear that, you can't do. It's just like a free for all almost, like you say, within them perimeters of health and safety. Yeah. But it has definitely got that. They're so intro-droving, folks. Just do what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's never any issues.
No,
right.
There's never any trouble. Is there? No. There's never any violence. Never any. It's like, and there's not an enormous police presence. No. You're probably lucky if you see 2 uniformed cops. I know there's like a private security team that kind of do that, but I know that's all part of your insurances and all that.
We have to do that.
But even them guys, they blend in. They're not being dicks. So
but that's kind of grown over the years as well, because another side of all this, right? So there's that first year. There's like, is anyone going to come? Yeah. Oh yeah, they come, and then it starts growing from there. And the bigger it gets, the more you have to have all that sort of stuff. Just as because essentially we have to license the town centre. Yeah. And then we have a responsibility about. So then all of effectively all of the responsibility comes onto us. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's doing an event in a field. It's all your responsibility. It's exactly how it works in a town centre as well. So we apply and we.
So do you come into the same remit as a festival?
Kind of, yeah.
Because it's a bit blurry of the lines, isn't it? Because obviously a festival, you're paying for tickets. It's usually within a fenced-off sort of environment.
Yeah, but it doesn't actually make any difference whether people are paid or not. You're responsible. So if you've organised this thing to happen in the middle of the town, then you are responsible for ensuring that everything goes right with it. Right, so if you know, heaven forbid somebody was hurt.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got to make sure that, I mean, so accidents happen, right? But the whole process of things like health and safety and risk assessment is that you've thought about what might happen, and that you've mitigated against it and done your best. It doesn't mean that nothing can ever happen, but at least you can show that, you know, we did our. But I always kind of say to the guys, like, what does this look like in court? You know, so if you've covered all the ground with leads and trip hazards and all that sort of stuff, and then somebody falls over and breaks their nose, well, that's your responsibility, you know, or our responsibility. And I guess in terms of, you know, like, is it like a festival? Well, it is a festival, and the fact that it's not fenced in or there's no tickets has kind of got nothing to do with it.
Not? So you still come, because I know when I've been speaking to guys that run festivals, I know that there's certain sort of parameters that where the license is involved, that so many thousand people, you have to have this much stuff. All of that. Blah, 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 which is relatively easy to kind of police, because they'll be going on ticket sales. And but I can imagine with you, this is where that grey area comes. But I'm guessing as well, there isn't a specific licensing department for street events that.
It's the local authority is a licensing officer.
So would they still come under that same thick banner as the festivals would, or not?
Absolutely. So the same people, we work with the same people that work with Kendall Calling. You know, that's our mates who run that. Appleby. The Appleby Fair. It's the same procedure.
Because Appleby will be very similar, wouldn't it? Because it's often no ticket sales. The whole town is just a big free for all, isn't it?
But there are. I mean, there's a group in the middle of it, aren't there? Who are the ones? And obviously, that's got a tradition thing that's slightly different. But I know that Billy Welsh is one of the people who kind of, you know, he takes responsibility for making sure that it happens. And there's others as well. There's a group. We have a thing called a SAG. A safety advisory group, which is actually really good. So we meet, and it's not just once, we meet regularly with at the SAG, the council licensing officer will invite us, and whoever else is relevant, really. So the blue light services will be there. The council's environmental health people will be there. The sound people will be there, and we go through, and because we make an event plan. It's about this thick. I mean, it's you know, we employ.
That was about 3 inches thick. If you're listening on Spotify,
about this thick. But it's really thorough, and we really pride ourselves on it being thorough as well. We don't use the word tick boxes. We're like, we want it to be. I always my thing is that I don't want anything to go wrong. I don't want anyone's day to be spoiled, because that makes it pointless. That's not what we're trying to do.
They've been looking forward to it. They've come for it.
Absolutely.
And then if something happens, and it spoils the day, then
that's defeated the whole point of the thing in the first place. So we're really thorough about trying to make sure that we've got all of our risk assessments, everything, that we've thought about everything, and there's always going to be something you haven't thought about. We do with that group. Sometimes we've done like tabletop exercises. Have you ever done one of them? Where it's kind of like a simulation of. I hope he's watching. There was the licensing officer, Steve, was really great, but he kind of escalated it beyond
reality.
Carried away now. Like,
and then this nuclear bomb came.
Well, a little bit. It was about things like terrorist, bombs and stuff like that. And you're going, well, this wouldn't happen, but clearly things happen everywhere. And you don't want to be going, oh, I don't know what to do about that. You know, so but quite often it would go past the stage where we were going to do something about it. We'd end up going, and they'd look at us and go, "What are you going to do?" We're going to call the police.
Over to you guys.
They've got this one, or the fire service, or whatever it happens to be. You're like, "Oh, this is called fire service." That's it. But and over the years we've learnt about how to do all this stuff better.
Because I'd imagine 80% of it never changes.
Yeah.
And then
it's probably even more than that doesn't change, you know.
Tweaks accordingly to whatever might have happened the previous year.
Or we've changed the site a bit, we've moved this, there's maybe you've got an act, you know, we've had things like a fire-breathing dragon, so you've got that, so that's going to be, and that's not just something that happens, you know.
In it on its own. That was really cool though, wasn't
it? It was, we haven't got that this year. That's something that's different this year. So you know, all of that stuff, and you kind of you know that not everywhere does all this stuff or has the knowledge. It is you know, our guys they're experts now in putting events on. And I'm really proud of that. You know, that's. They'll tell you that I'm absolutely stickler for the event management plan. It's got to be right, you know, because there's still something you might slip through, but you got to do your best with it, you know. So and then you can get these, you know, the vast majority of emails going, it was great, it was wonderful, and actually something that you were saying earlier, like it can actually have a feeling of, oh, it's just happening. It's just all crazy. Everyone's just doing what they're doing, and we're going, but you know, we've set that up so that you can, you know, kind of.
It's almost like organised chaos.
So absolutely. You know, or create the circumstances where you can, you know,
because it has because it just flows. You know, it is a. You know, when you watch things on television and there's the old sort of markets, so you say, for instance, Game of Thrones, and they've got all the old market scenes and people. And it's like medievally times or ancient times, and people are just hustle and bustle, and there's stuff going on, and there's entertainment, and it's exactly like that,
isn't it? That's exactly what I reach for with it. I'm a little bit partly, you know, kind of, and this is, you know, but I'm not. We sort of referred to this earlier. I think things get a bit over organised. I'm not over into the super sanitised thing. But I'm not completely into the kind of completely anarchic thing either. You know, it's kind of, so can we have a field between the two? You know, kind of, you know, like, you know, we could say this about, you know, some, you know, I suppose the epitome of it is the sort of latitude thing, where basically it's almost like you could almost draw the person who goes there, can't you? And you kind of know what it's going to be, and it's like that, and it's very nice.
A bit like how Glastonbury's become.
Well, a bit, I guess,
And the memes were so funny when this year's. I was like, there was some really, really good ones, but it has become. Not what it was.
I think you're right.
It's become super mainstream and organised. And I mean, I'm talking. I've never been, so I've no real right to say. But I can imagine there's still some great out there, quirky stuff on the edges. But the stuff that is televised and
that part, it definitely is. I mean, with Glasgow, it's massive, right? And there are, because I've got mates who work on it, or kind of, in fact, even connected with this, that there's a guy who runs an area there who is my go-to guy for when we're getting the bigger mans. Right. Chris Tofu, call out for Chris. So at Glastonbury, there's these other areas that are kind of like, that's for the people who want to do that. That's for the people who want to do that sort of stuff. That main space is not all of it. No, you know, and
yet that's the bit that for people.
I suppose that's the telly bit, isn't it?
It's what people want.
Well, it's the most televisable thing as well, because you know, sort of just having a camera wandering around a bunch of drunk people with you know, face paint on. It's kind of like, put some clothes on.
No, it's not that thing.
No, okay, there could be that, but it is, you know, the kind of those that's it's the Coldplay. In fact. That's the Coldplay concert. We can never fit him into the drove-in.
Can you not? The diary never matches.
Well, and sometimes it's like he comes to me. I go, Chris, man, no, it doesn't. It's not right. It's not right.
You've been on Glasgow this year. You're oversaturating yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So I can't do that. Sorry. Yeah. It's always next year.
Yeah, just come and watch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he is, but he wears a mask.
Exactly.
So you never know.
So you never know who's going to be at the winter driving. It's full of stars that you never know where they are.
It's Hollywood.
It is,
the whole thing.
Hollywood A-list are all there.
Absolutely. All of them, I can't keep them away. You know. Can you not? But and actually the mask thing, you know, when we were first... so the modern version of it, because obviously it's been going on for centuries, as we know. There was we basically said at the council, look, let's do something. And I don't know, I kind of look back and go, how on earth did we get that through a meeting? Because without actually saying what it was.
So
I
you didn't even have to explain to them?
No, I think we talked about, let's do an event, let's do a town thing event, and maybe I referenced other things, but we came away going, oh, they've just said yes. It was like 10 grand, right? They went, 10 grand, we just said yes, and like, so what are we going to do then?
just wing it.
Well, yeah, but the thing was, like I'm saying about things like the latitude or whatever, I kind of felt like, there can be a little bit of, you could call it rent a festival. Any town, you could do that thing, could be in any town. And it said, and the big thing I think with the droving is about thinking about what is this place, and it's been this animal droving. It's a rural area. Exactly. Animals have been driven for centuries, and there was, to be honest, there was a little bit of looking at other places and thinking. So there's a thing called Lochhead in Shetland, Lewis.
Is that the Viking thing?
Yeah. Well, they got the fire torches, and they parade around the Viking torch and then set fire to the bell. Exactly.
Now that's been going for years, because I remember when that was on Blue Peter. I saw it on a rerun, obviously.
Is it as old as Blue Peter?
It is.
Black and
white as well.
Oh, right.
Before, it's been about 74. It's got to have been.
Yeah, but so is it traditional? Has it always been in the Shetlands?
Probably not.
It's so I read up about it. Right. Going, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah.
And obviously with the droving we have the fire torches, and it turns out that I think it's in something like the 1880s.
Right.
The town council kind of decided, we've got to have some reason for people to come to Shetland, and obviously it's not an easy place. They weren't getting a lot of passing trade, so they invented it then, and sort of made this thing, and that then has become a tradition.
Right.
So it was actually an attempt by Shetland, I believe. Don't sue me if I'm wrong. To
draw more people.
Draw people in, and it does. Tourists. Thousands of people go every year. So nick that idea, and there's only 7 jokes, isn't there, or something like 7 tunes? Like just keep
mishmash them.
Find another way of that
exactly.
working. I know people do it to us. We sometimes see things and you go, where'd you get that idea?
It's true though, isn't it?
Nice one.
But it's very rare that it's an absolute 100% original new idea. Everything's been done, and all it is now is a mishmash of certain things. Take a bit off, put a bit on, make it your own.
But we've invented this idea of cheese rolling down a hill, right? That we're going to be doing this.
That'd be good. Think it'll catch on.
The other part as well is the masks, and the masks for me, one, it's like it's theatre, right? You kind of there's people wearing this stuff, and they kind of that's theatrical in itself. But also, I think that there's this sort of naughtiness. There's a the mystery that there's if you're a little bit anonymous, you can.
So if you've got an alter ego, that can probably come out, can't it? It's almost being drunk but without having to drink.
Exactly.
Because no one really knows who's behind the mask. You can prance around and do what you want.
Make a complete fool of yourself.
And no one knows who you are.
And they go, I saw you with the rabbit mask.
Your tattoos give you away.
It's obviously you. No, it wasn't.
As soon as you open your mouth.
It was obviously mother.
But I think that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Because it does allow people to just do what they want for the day.
Absolutely.
It's fab. And you get the kids, because soon we'll be selling the masks, won't we? So obviously there's masks that you can buy at my stall.
Or make them.
So make them. I think the made ones are far better.
Oh, absolutely. We kind of top it up with the ones that are available through your stall.
But it's the kids that come. It's very rarely that adults will. Sometimes the adults will come and get the lacy ones and things. And I tend to find on the day that it's people that probably have never been before, didn't realise that it was such a big... It's like turning up at... Someone says, oh, we're having a fancy dress party. And you think, nah, they're not. And then you turn up in a normal club and then everyone else is in fancy dress. And it's kind of like, it's that simple.
Although it's worse the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where people say, it's fancy dress party. You go, all right, go in the bunny outfit. And like, oh, it isn't, is it? Thanks, lads.
So I get the excitement of the kids. So on the couple of Saturdays before, you know, they're buying the masks. They can't wait. They want to open them straight away. It's a bit like that Christmas present thing.
Right, good.
The mums won't let them because it's like no, because they know that they'll start wearing them, and by the time the drove-ins come, they'll be knackered.
Or lost, or whatever.
Yeah. And then, like I said, then it's people that have probably come for the first time, didn't realise what a spectacle it was. So it's like, oh, I feel a bit left out now, and it's like, oh, I'll buy a mask.
I didn't bring a mask.
It was some wolf ears.
Because you can also wear ears, you know,
exactly.
as modelled.
As modelled by. You know what? You are missing a treat. If you're just listening to this on Spotify, they are missing a treat, aren't they?
Absolutely. This is perfectly normal.
Yeah, perfectly normal behaviour for two middle-aged men. Sitting in the caravan, one with his wolf ears on.
I'd been feeling naked up till now.
You've only just got dressed, so no point turning over now. Don't rewind it because you've got to subscribe.
How's that going to go on Spotify?
But it was, in our defence, it is cold in here as well.
So I'll just take my ears off, put them on my leg. Well, ears and noses and whatever. But people do, like you say, people do. It is all the stuff that other people think of that they've added, you know, I don't know, maybe we've had 50% of the ideas, and then the great public kind of go, oh, that's not enough. Call
that a winter drove-in.
No, here we go. Now then, I can do this. So, but the basic things are the masks, the fire procession, the animals in the procession. Parade, for those who haven't seen it, the lanterns. It's like that thing you said about Carlisle. Because it's so big. We sometimes think, we don't really need to publicise this because you know the town's rammed. And then I meet people in Carlisle and they go, "What do you do?" And I go, "Oh, it's winter drove-in." You what? You know, you know what I do. Come on,
just having a laugh.
So sort of completely deflated. But is that a bit Cumbrian? You know, that like it can be just 10 miles away. Don't know anything about it. What's happening in Sillith? Where?
True.
Never heard. Never. That is. You know, we know it's a big county of sort of separate islands almost in a way.
Very much so.
You know, I mean, I always think, as an outsider to hear that there's stuff that goes on in Kendal that people in Penrith are kind of just not engaged with. You referenced the torchlight.
But I bet you very few people from Penrith will go to that.
Yeah. Or even know of it, There's Lakes International Comic Art Festival, right? So an international comic art festival.
That was just last weekend.
A couple of weeks ago, Was it last weekend? Yeah, massive. And I know that probably 90% of the people, maybe even more, in Penrith don't know what that is. And yet there's people coming from all around the world to it. I mean, we know actually with the droving, we do a survey every year that. It's definitely it's more than 50% local people are here because people can just walk into town and do it. And then there's these other stats which always amaze me, but they come out the same every year. For example, we say how far have you travelled, and the average distance travelled is not half a mile; it's 30 miles.
Wow.
The average. So, and we're just randomly asking people, where have you come from, whatever you are, and or maybe it's the locals who are going, I'm not answering that. So that pushes up the average. I don't think it is. So that there's people, and then literally, there's, where have you come from? There's people come from all over the country.
But like you touched on earlier, you said it does get a lot in the national press coverage. And ironically, being as we're sat in a caravan, the Camping and Caravanning Club every year they do like a table of events, and it's like a month. So you get this magazine every year, and then there's a cartoony map of the country, and then little bits of things that go on. And in October, there's the winter drove-in. You're in
Good.
It.
Good.
You didn't know, did you?
No, I didn't. No, that's it. Yeah.
So that's an annual thing that you're in every year. You obviously haven't paid for it.
No.
So you know, it's something that obviously somebody's been to or has experienced and think it's deserving of a place in the Camping and Caravanning magazine.
Yeah, we know. I mean, we know as well that people find it really hard to find accommodation. So we know that because people get in touch with us and say, "Oh, how do we think? Well, you needed to have booked
last year."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because it's going to be popular. But I mean, isn't it great that that's happened?
Yeah.
You know that. That from nothing. Yeah. This is happening 13 years later. Yeah. And who knows in 13 years' time what it'll be. I mean, obviously, you've only got the constricts of the town to work within, but nevertheless, it's. Because I know you did kind of not doubled up, but you kind of touched on involving other areas, low sort of. Well, we've done it at Ullswater.
Is it still at Ullswater this year as well?
And it isn't this year,
right?
No, and that's been a bit on and off. Yeah. And how that started was obviously when the bridge went down at Purley Bridge. With the storm, 2015. Was that? Thankfully, it's long enough. But all that, that dreadful flooding that we had. There was people being put out of their homes in Emont Bridge, and that bridge went down at Purley Bridge, which is at the end of Ullswater, for those that don't know. And that was down for a couple of years, wasn't it? Yeah. And our response to that was, well, again, it's been useful. What can we do to be useful? Well, build a bridge. Didn't know how to do that. But maybe make an event that actually brings people there. Double payoff. One, that it might help the local businesses to have more trade for even if it's just for a day. But also for the local people to go, oh, that was good. We had a thing that made us feel good. And we've actually, have we done it? I'm going to get it wrong, 3 or 4 times. There was there was some sort of flood money, county money, I think it was, that helped to pay for it, because everything costs something. But with that, every time we've done it, we have a arrangement with Ullswater Steamers, who are been a big supporter of the winter droving and the Ullswater droving. So we'd put the act on, or the main act on, at Ullswater. Sorry, at Glenriddin, and they'd arrive by steamer. If you've never been to it, no. It's great. The pier is all decked out with flags and stuff, and you see the steam, and people arrive there. And
so the road's shut as well.
Yeah. Briefly, we have to briefly shut it. I mean, actually, when we first did it, shutting the road wasn't an issue because the bridge was down. The road's shut. But there was. Do you remember they put a walking bridge in? You could get across there. So we just did it around that. Now that they've got the new bridge, then we have to close the road. So that's a bit of an issue, and takes a bit of finagling with the police helping us with a temporary. Because I mean that was the whole point of what the problem was, that that the road through Purley Bridge is really important to it. It's a long way around to get to the other side.
Exactly, very long.
So we are, but it depends on funding really, whether we can do it. We like doing the Ullswater one, except it doubles the work. We did one last year, so that's us doing even more. You do a whole event on the Friday and then start again on the Saturday. But we haven't got that this year. I want to mention as well. I've got to mention the support that local business give it. So we have some sponsors who these are local businesses who put their own money into it. And they've been consistent. Leo Group, the idle.com.
Science.
Those are the 3 main ones. This year. We have a problem with funding. And the simple problem really is that it gets bigger. Things cost more, cost of living. Everything goes up, and the funding, which is generous, public funding, hasn't gone up. So there's that equation just doesn't work, does it? And actually, sort of since 2018, I think it was, where we started going, this actually cost more than we had. and you know, Eden Arts, we can sort of play a little bit without. You know, we've got a couple of grand in the bank or whatever. But it kind of went, oh, we lost $4 this year. And then the next, oh, we lost $8 and you kind of start going, now this is starting to get painful. And essentially there is, and everyone knows, you know, the councils have problems, etc. You know, we can disagree with what they do with it. Because there is funding there. And you know what's valued, but we also know that, you know, there's issues around social care, and you know we're recipients of the you know, the services that the councils provide, fire service and things like that. You know, we know that these things have got to be preserved. So it's all a debate, isn't it, about how to do it? But I do think that culture is a valuable service to the community.
I was going to say that then when you said that, because I think there'll be people probably listening, I don't know whether there will be or not, but they'll say, oh, it's just art. It's like, but you need art. It's what has made humanity what it is. You imagine if we'd never, you know, created some of the great pieces of art, the sculptures, the you know, art is music, it's television, it's in your life whether you like it or not.
And if you take it away,
what is that?
What is that? Now we know there's some people kind of go, well, I don't. Well, okay, and that's an opinion. You know, maybe I don't really. You know, I'm not really interested. Well, I'm sitting there, I'll be miserable. Fine. But I think it kind of goes beyond that. You know, I don't really get into stuff about, is it good? You know, good art, whatever. You like that piece of music. You like that picture. Whatever. You know, there's no right or wrong there. The thing is that I was referring to before, like, it brings people together. That's all I'm really into. And then let's just see how that goes.
How it goes.
And then we can get really big about that sort of stuff, because look at the terrible things that are going on when people are not getting on with each other. Like, you know, stop, please. Any of this binary arguments for this, should we have this or not this? You know, that one. Stop. We don't. You know, the world is much better. My life is much better when we all
work together.
When I'm in a place where everyone's.
Things get made and things happen. When we argue and bicker and fight and hate, things don't happen.
Just destructive things happen.
Things just get destroyed. But as soon as we come together, and we kind of, we create things. You know, absolutely. Can you imagine that the pyramid? Well, I don't know. Pyramid's probably a wrong thing, but you know, every great city and civilization going back has been, and people go, but they had slaves and they did this. But people got together and created things, and
well, you definitely see in those sort of things that you referred to, aren't you, that they had pride in what they were doing. You know, that you know,
and they've stood the test of time.
Absolutely. You know? Well, they should be building our stuff now, right?
Will things stand the test of time now?
No, not really, but I don't think so.
I mean, I cycle to work every day on a 101-year-old bicycle.
I know.
Now, will a bicycle that's been made today still be around in, you know, probably self-combust or something by 50 years time. But you know, it's that same sort of thing.
Unless they get them from Arrogance.
Of course, because they aren't actually sponsoring this show. But maybe you should be.
I mean, that's a little bit, actually, to be fair. They've always been. They're really supportive. You know, Sarah. They've right from the start, you know, because there's those sort of stories as well about that people don't know about how did this all happen, and some of that's about, for example, Sarah, she was on the bid board, and the bid put some money in. And but you know, you just knew that there was somebody like her just being enthusiastic, going, this is great. I want to see more. I think that's it
as well, because like when we touched on it earlier, when you're involved with people from Penrith, they have got an immense pride in their town. So if they're in a position where they can help financially, or with hands, or with time, then they will wholeheartedly, won't they? You know, and it's things like that that kind of get you.
Oh, totally,
as well.
Totally.
You know,
that's that back to the thing of, you know, the local people owning the thing,
and then it gets back to people working together, not against one another. And then it creates, because who knows what you might, you know, this winter droving coming, all the winter drovings you've just done, you have absolutely no idea what you have inspired people to go on to do.
No, exactly. You know? Totally. That's the thing.
Whether it be a person that's turned up, or a person that's maybe volunteered and then maybe they've done something that day that they would have never in a million years done. You know, then they might have gone on to become sound engineers or prop makers, or you know, you might have inspired them to do something that their life took a complete tangent on.
Totally.
So
because I'm like Billy Elliot kind of. I mean, I'm from a working class family in the north, Scots, you know, but you know, really kind of like old fashioned, hardcore working. You know, get yourself a proper job. What are you doing? Don't be an idiot. You know, that sort of thing. And I was sort of inspired by people who inspired me to kind of go, well, you know, you can follow this creative path. Might not work out, then get a different job. You know, you can always do that. So, and I have that. Oh God, this, you know, the stories or you see it in the kids' eyes that so if kids around here are not, it's not like they're going to be totally lost by not having something like this, but it will add more to their pride, their ambition, their kind of like, oh, you know, even their let your hair down imagination, you know, I could do that, or I could be a musician, but it doesn't even have to be a creative thing. It could be, oh, I want to get into putting events on, or I want to I think anything that we can all of us take the kind of the, oh well, I'll just go and get that job. But I mean, it's like with you, you know, kind of you've had different, you know, you've done different things, and you know, being given permission and encouraged to go. You don't have to be pissed off doing that. You don't have to just do that. There's nothing wrong with it if you wanna, right? You know, kind of. But you got permission to think outside the box. You know, I think culture, creativity does that.
It does.
Gives people a bit of a you know. Just a different way of looking at stuff.
100%.
You know, I've seen you know in you know, you see photographs. I love seeing some of the photographs you see at the window driving of people kind of looking at stuff going. I've never.
But it's great because so many photographers turn up, and they just turn up from God knows where. But they've come in and they've got £1 million worth of cameras all over them, on the hips, 10 round the neck, and they're constantly. They're so excited because they must know themselves that that day, regardless of the weather, they are going to have so much footage that they can sort of create.
Well, because and what they get is it's authentic, isn't it? It's really, there's a really authentic interaction goes on, and I think that's possibly why even it is different here. I've lived and worked in all sorts of different places. You know, I lived in London for quite a while. I lived in Chichester for a while. I am from the north originally, but and then ended up working here. And there are some other places that they're kind of, you know, it's like, oh, there's another festival. You're like, oh, I've seen them. I mean, they're lucky to have that kind of, you know, that complacency if they have. You don't have that here.
No.
You know, that's people. We don't have enough. We can't afford enough to be happening all the time. We, you know, so droving has a bigger impact in a place like this. Because it's the, you know,
it's almost the one big thing of the year, almost, isn't it?
It's a very big distinct thing. I mean, obviously there's the May Day as well. That's been a long standing.
Now, isn't it? After
I think the town council are taking it on.
Oh, are they?
I think so. I hope so, because you know we need these things to happen. I kind of you know, people sometimes think that, oh, you must be just into your own thing and against all the others. Not at all. You know, how can we have more of this sort of stuff? Because the problem for us is we're then all fighting for the same funding pot. Like,
true.
You know, I like your thing,
but show me the money.
But
unfortunately, things don't happen unless you get paid. You know, you are a professional organisation.
And
I think that definitely comes across with even the way you dress the town. I mean, that's so. It's so professional. You know, like I've never been a big Disney fan. When my daughter was younger, we took her to Disneyland Paris, and it was like, she was never a massive Disneyland, you know, thing. She liked all the Disney princesses, but that was about it. But when I got there, I was blown away by it was like, wow. It was like every detail was, you know, crossed every T and dotted every I. And I get that same feeling with this. You know,
on a small scale,
you know,
but with a small budget.
But you make it, you know, and we've talked about this pagan thing quite a lot, but the fact that you use a lot of the sort of birch and the wood and the colours have got that kind of autumnal
all of that.
You know, it's
it's not accidental. We're going with it. I mean, I think because there's a bit of Wicker Man about it as well, isn't there?
I mentioned that in one of the things. That's exactly what I say to people. I say, imagine a Wicker Man and steampunk all day long. It's kind of like a bit of both, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, because that's a little bit of You could do all this thing, and you could make it really twee, all about all the fluffy bunnies and all that sort of stuff. But actually, the countryside isn't like that. You know, I mean, even animals are reared for a purpose. They're kind of it's not pretty in the end or whatever. Or I mean, I sometimes say to people like, you think that here it's all this beautiful sort of picturesque thing. You want to maybe be stuck on the top of Crossfell at midnight in February on your own, and just see how you get on with that, how friendly you find that. You're either going to freeze to death or frighten yourself to death.
Or you want to be a shepherd or a farmer who's got lambing season.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's one stuck and one comes out,
the things
the reality of rural life is not.
Absolutely.
He's not.
Well, you've done this. I'm sure you've done, because most people would have been. If you get stuck behind a dead stock van, a stock van, a truck, because for those who don't know, that's where animals die, and then they stink, and there's people who come along and clean all that up, and if if you're behind one of them trucks,
especially if it's summer, and you've got the windows open.
A mate of mine said that he had this phrase about where there's livestock, there's dead stock, and. But so what all that's about for me is about that's the reality of, and even when we're talking about the floods and stuff, it can be beautiful to live here. Come and visit the picturesque Ullswater, but
Storm Desmond hits and it's like.
How's that for the people of Glenridding and Purley Bridge around that time, and that it carried on for a long time. You can have bad weather and that affects your livestock or your business.
But even it doesn't even have to be as sort of severe as the big storms we've had. We get a lot of rainfall and there's a big deluge. I know farmers that regularly lose livestock in fields because there's like a bit of a flash flood and they go the next day and there's nothing in the field.
Foot mouth.
Foot mouth.
The reality of a big landscape is not. I kind of rail against it a little bit with the kind of the tourism industry has to sell that isn't this picturesque and beautiful and paint a picture of it, but that doesn't feel like the reality of living here to me. We are pleased with the beauty of the landscape here, but
that's why most of us have chosen to live here, apart from the people who were born here, obviously. I moved here in particular because I used to be a tourist, and it was just like gonna move where I love and start this business. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll get a proper job. At least I'm living somewhere nice. But obviously 30 years later it's work, so I must be doing something right. But that was the whole thing, was that. And to be fair, when you're an outsider looking in, all you do see is the Lake District National Park sort of tourist board vision of the lakes, and it's not until you meet people, you see things, and you experience things yourself that you realise, wow, rural life is brutal.
There are challenges. Challenges. I mean, we actively sort of engage in. There's the serious part. Like you said, we're professionals. We and that usefulness thing. So we actively engage with the local authorities, things like the local enterprise partnership, which is now moved on. But if you like, the strategic thinking about a place like Cumbria. And part of that is addressing problems. For example, that it is a super aging place. That might feel fine to all of us, going, well, thank God for that. That's fine. That's quiet. That's no problem.
Until we need our arses wiped.
Put it well, there. Kind of. But also, it doesn't make a thriving place, does it?
No.
If too many of the young people, and I don't think I once said to somebody, and they put me right. I said, we need to make this place so interesting that people don't go. And he went, no, you want them to go, you want them to come back. You want, like I said, my son, he lives he's gone to live in Shanghai. He's been there for a few years now. And he's learning stuff that I couldn't imagine.
No,
you know, when I was his age, we never did that. I might have gone to Scarborough. But, you know, we're in a different world now. But there's sort of you know, it's good, you know, to have that go see, go and learn, but bring it back.
And then bring them ideas back, exactly.
But we don't have enough coming back going on.
Yeah,
and
true.
There's a little bit, and I think culture has a role to play in this, because you know, a cultural place is more of an interesting place to live.
Exactly.
Simply that, you know. So I always say to people, like, show me a sort of a cultural place that's got a bad economy. Yeah. You know, it just doesn't exist. You know. Yeah. So that's an obvious connection. And sometimes you say, well, prove it. And it's going, well, you just know it. Yeah. You know. But I also, I mean, you know, the other principles that I kind of have around. I think that, you know, environmentally, you know, being environmentally responsible is a really good thing, you know, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the countryside, doesn't it? You know, that's what people have been doing forever, and now we're sort of trying to find other ways of, you know, how can we burn less carbon, whatever, all those sort of things. So, you know, if a place is culturally successful and environmentally nice, then it makes it a livable place, you know, and then you don't have a problem with younger people not wanting to live here. They want to come and live here. Yeah. So we do, even, you know, for those people going, oh, it's just culture, why are we wasting our money on that? It's actually it's an important thing to help sustain a balanced community. Yeah. You know, we could go, can't afford it, we're not doing it, we're just going to do the Meals on Wheels because we should. Yeah. But then, they've all gone. Yeah, they're not
no one
here
to actually push the Meals on Wheels.
Yeah. We're all just kind of. We've all got to understand the sort of big picture of how stuff works, and it can feel a bit of a head scratcher at time, and we all get a little bit prejudiced about, oh, I don't like that. Yeah. Oh, I'm against that. Yeah. I'm against this type of thing. Yeah.
Because we've all got our own points of view on things. Yeah. And that's what makes us all different.
It's really important.
Yeah, you should, because it'd be such a dull, boring world if we were all exactly like me.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's true, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I definitely go out of my way to, you know, talk about the Facebook bubbles and things like that, and all that, and you kind of. Well, for one thing, you just stop looking at it, because it's like, I just said something and every woman, and then he said that and I went, what's all that about? You know, I like listening. I'm listening to, you know, everything. You know, the Conservative Party, they're everything there. Their debate about who's going to
be their next leader.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you know, what's going on there? You know, I kind of.
But that's how it should be. You should take in as much information as you could. Yeah. As you possibly can.
That's living, isn't it?
And then you just make up your own mind. You've got one. Yeah. Don't let somebody else tell you how to think. Yeah. Yeah. You've got free will. You've got consciousness. Use it. Yeah.
And another one on that, Tim, is that gets me sometimes is people go, oh, you've changed. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I have.
Yeah. I gave myself permission to go, oh, I don't think that anymore. It's like, I thought that, and then
actually, that's wrong.
Yeah, I got bored of it. Or I learned something else, or whatever. I kind of, I'm totally not. My thing is about kind of just staying out of the grey. You know. Yeah. It means you end up making a few mistakes sometimes.
But I don't think any one of us should be afraid to be yourself.
No.
Should you?
No.
And unfortunately, I mean, with me, I suppose in some respects, I've always kind of bent to go, especially when I moved up here, because no one knew me. So having tattoos from like a really early age. So I had tattoos when they were like not the norm. So it was either villains, bikers, or bikers or military that had tattoos. Right? So when I first moved up, I used to keep my arms curved in the middle of summer. Even though I've got one on the hand, it was like I was really conscious, because it was nobody had them back then, and it was like, so that became sort of a conscious thing. And I always kind of, not that I'm not scruffy, some people might disagree, but I've always kind of thought, oh, I should fit within these certain parameters, you know. And then obviously I joined the fire service, so I had to fit within those certain parameters. But then when I came out, I think with me in particular, it was when COVID happened. It was like, do you know what? Because I had long hair before I moved up, and it's like, I'm going to grow my hair again, and I'm going to grow a beard, and if you don't like it,
whatever. Yeah.
2-1. So, and it was kind of like, it gives you that liberation. I think anybody who is listening to this or watching this and they're thinking, oh, I'm always too much giving to other people and what other people think, and it's like, don't wait until you're too old like I did. Not that I haven't had fun, but now I'm kind of like, you know what, I wish I'd done this years ago, because people don't really give a shit. They don't really care that much about you to really have such a massive strong opinion that, you know, if you do X, Y, and Z, there, you know, you're the devil or whatever. So it's like,
well, and if they do, then that's
so
you know what's up with you? You've got time to be bothered about what I'm doing.
Exactly, and so it's like, it's been, you know, it's took me so long to realise that I don't care now what people think. You know, I'll do what I want to do. I'll say what I want to say. Take it or leave it. This is me. So.
I'd say a big one on that sort of stuff. We did, you know, said about some stuff that we do. We did the winter driving. We did a project. We got engaged with the day hospice.
Right. Yeah.
It was just across the way there. You know. A few years ago. Actually, for that project, it was like that we were working with the health service and kind of going, oh, we want to do some projects with you. Are there any sort of things that you think we might engage with? And they gave us a list of things, and one of the things was day hospice, i.e. people who are dying, right? And I'm like, no. Anyway, cut a long story short, we ended up getting kind of, we'll go and see him. And it was brilliant. And I think, you know, I used to go over there and have lunch every Tuesday, as it was then, with these people, and if ever you needed a bunch of people to advocate for, don't worry about what people think about you. It's those people, you know, those people that stays their life guide. It doesn't matter. That's nothing to worry about.
If it got to the stage where they knew they were dying, that they realised that, or do you think they were kind of
maybe some of them were already there going, I don't care, but I mean a really interesting thing there was that you know, class doesn't matter at that point. How much money you got, whether you got a tattoo, whether you've got long hair, whether you your gender, sexuality, nothing to think about here. It's just about, and I mean, I would say with that place, because probably, you know, my not doing that, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be miserable and smell of cabbage, you know. Not at all. It wasn't. It was the opposite of that. It was an absolute joy, you know, to go. And we did a project. We made some films with the people there. You know, really enriching. I mean, I can't, you know, and it's like what you're saying there about, it's so important. You know, I'm a big fan. You've only got one of these. And it's your responsibility to make it as good as you possibly can. You know, there can be, you know, we all get down. and that's hard to get out of sometimes as well. You know. But
then again, it's things like the drove-in and maybe things like this that, you know, people look forward to, and it might get them out of that rut that they're in, and it's just like
I think I was chatting with somebody the other day about, you know, you can get demotivated. It's really easy to get demotivated.
You can talk yourself out with anything, can't you?
I mean, currently I'm doing less exercise because I get up in the morning and go. So in the evening I go, so in the morning I'm going to be doing this, and I wake up and go, ooh.
Snooze. Another snooze.
I'll be all right. I'll do that tomorrow. Actually, that was kind of like, but it's so. You've kind of got, you really have got to grasp it sometimes, haven't you? You kind of got to, you know.
You've almost got to get yourself and give yourself a shake, to a degree.
And say, or even, you know, or turn up at the thing. Or just go to the thing. I know, you know, with me, I know that I always feel better if I get off my bike and go and have a cycle ride. And then I was chatting to somebody about this last night and then I kick myself when I talk myself out of it, because I actually know what makes me feel better. And that, you know, I'm relatively fit. For somebody else, it might be just walk down the end of the road. Because, you know, because the difficulties are coming in your life somehow. You know, I'm certainly in the age where I've got mates who get terribly ill. And they go. You know.
We're in Sniper Alley. They call it, don't they?
Is that what they call it? It
kind of resonates quite well, doesn't it?
Yeah, sort of. Oh, you just made something popped in my head about there's some joke. I don't know, something about somebody with a big head being sniper's dream or something like that. That's slightly different, isn't it? But yeah, because I mean that's knife, isn't it? It's normal.
Well,
We're you know we get you know yeah. Although you know it's younger people have kind of you know there's all sorts of issues as well. But particularly it's definitely dodging bullet. It seems to me there's more fire coming in.
It's not just a nice little walk down the street, or is it?
No, it's a bit of a limp.
Dodging a few things.
Yeah, like but and it is so, you know, kind of going back to all the stuff about, I mean, particularly what I do, you know, I definitely, but I just think you know, what you do, you know, it's you give people a lot of positivity. You know,
yeah, I suppose.
I'm just selling potatoes. You know, it's.
Well, I'm sort of conscious that to some people, I might be the only person that they speak to that day. So, and I'm kind of like a people person anyway. That's one of the reasons I started the podcast as well, was because it's just an extension of the day.
People must gossip with you, right?
Yeah,
you must know what's going on. I should kind of ask you, like, what's going on?
I know more about you than you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Is any of it true? But it doesn't matter, because I said to you earlier, I don't care whether stuff's true. Made up stuff's way more interesting than true.
It is, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So everything you've heard about me is quite possibly true.
Yeah. Go with it, because actually,
but no, it's kind of like, so I am conscious that I might be the only person that they speak to, so you kind of, and it just comes natural, I suppose. Over the years, when I first started, it wasn't kind of natural, but it's becoming, it's just a thing now. It's just me, it's my persona, it's me, it's my personality, and it's just,
and that's given you a lot.
It has.
I sort of see that from outside. There's this so almost I know it's not a false thing, but a character, you know, this has grown.
So this being Tatty Tim is now part of Penrith's kind of, and like you were saying about the kids growing up, oh, it's the drove-in, you know, because they've never known any difference. So I've had 2 or 3 generations of that, you know. They've never not known, some kids like that, people now in 20s and 30s, and they've never not known me be there, which is it's kind of a good thing.
Part of that,
but I suppose as well, I was saying this to somebody the other day, it's almost like every day I go on stage, it's almost as if and I don't do it falsely. I do it because it's me.
It doesn't look,
but it is not necessarily a performance. Is probably the wrong sort of description, but it is my thing.
Yeah, well, there's the theatricality about it.
Yeah,
and I like that. You know, I think it's really good, because it's kind of like, you know, it could just be like, I don't know, Greggs. I mean, I'm not knocking Greggs. Greggs is a great thing, right?
And that's exactly the same analogy I use. Is like, you go to Greggs, go to McDonald's, you go to any sort of high street name, and I'm not knocking the people that work there, but because they're just getting paid to do a job, and you're not really going to usually step outside the button up your game, are you? You're just there to earn your money. But if you're an independent trader, a business, a small business, you generally want people to come back to, so you make it as pleasant as an experience as you possibly can for them. So, and that's just something I've kind of always known, kind of subconsciously. So it's just something I've always done. So, and it's something I always.
Well, and people talk about that sort of, that, you know, local businesses and local pride and those sort of things, and we have fewer of them, you know, and it is because it is difficult. But you know, we know. I mean, you know. Well, it's interesting, you know, I sort of mentioned Sarah Barragans, you know, we could talk about Alan at Graham's, or we know these are, but, and they kind of have a, you know, you'd have to know them if you have to be from around here. We know that there's something tangible there.
Every
Dan,
town,
you know,
will
the
have
Chippy, and
exactly.
You know, go to all
they're all
people.
characters, aren't they? And it's almost in a game of Monopoly, in a way, which I'm actually in a game. I'm in the actual Eden Monopoly.
I didn't know there was one.
Yes, there is. Is there? Yes.
All right.
I think I've got one.
Are you the brown one at the beginning?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I am. I think I'm one of the. I could be one of the cheapest. 20 quid.
The equivalent of the old Kent Road. There you go. 82. Do not go to jail. I'm a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, that's one of my claims to fame. I'm on the Eden and Districts Monopoly Board.
All right. Did they give you a board?
Yeah, I've got one.
Good. Did they give you it though? Did you have to? All right, they make him buy it.
No,
hey, we put you on here. That'll be 30 quid, please. Who was that? Did the bid do that?
That was Lee Quinn.
All right, all right. Yeah.
So we did that, and then he went on to do Top Trumps and things as well, things like that.
I missed it.
Well,
asked me that one.
Way before, so on it I'm clean shaven. I look like a small child standing next to the potato machine.
You look like a potato, let's face it.
That's why I grew this. So that's when was that? That was probably 10 years ago.
How long has you been doing it?
This nearly 30 years.
Wow.
So
wow. that's a long time, isn't it?
When you say it out loud, you think, shit.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it, and I think that comes across. So, and if you enjoy doing something, it doesn't seem like work, you know. So I've effectively never worked most of my adult life. But I know I have, but you know, it's kind of like because you enjoy something. It's
different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes does everyone ever talk to you about? I mean, I don't know how you are on this one. Maybe it's different with what you're doing. But something else people say to me like, "Oh no, blah 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 blah, retire,"
no,
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
What
would you do?
My whole purpose would be gone. You know, I kind of. This is not the droving. I do lots of other things. I don't know what I'd do.
Do you not think if you're a creative type of person though that you always will do something?
Yeah,
because it's just in your DNA, isn't it?
What else? What do you else do? That's just what you wake up and do.
Yeah.
So if you can find a way of getting paid for it, because that's the thing, you know, because you'll always do it, but you know, you could just sit there with a colouring book.
Yeah.
And then that day will probably come.
It will. Well, we're having our arse wiped.
Yeah, absolutely. I've dribbled on that bit. Oh no. But yeah, so yeah, my trick is, and you know, and your trick as well is, you know, do something that you feel good about, makes you happy, and earn the bob.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
That's it.
What more can you ask for?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, totally.
You know, because we're both happy with what we do. We both enjoy our life, and what else is there?
Yeah.
What else is there?
Absolutely. It's that's all. And the health thing, you know, increasingly you kind of go. You know, keep that going.
I've said because it's surprisingly, I think my job, people would be quite surprised at how physically demanding it is. Because obviously,
I'm not surprised.
Are you not?
No.
It's kind of. I
mean, just standing there, you know, just doing that.
I mean, it's, to me, right? Because I've stood up basically for the last 30 years, and I know other people do, but when I sit down. Especially if I'm, say, doing the books or something, and obviously I get a really bad back because I'm not used to. Whereas I know other people, if they have to stand up a prolonged amount of time, their back kind of starts to ache. So, but physically, I'm lifting potatoes, I'm lifting stuff, I'm setting it up every day, I'm picking it down. It's in and out the garage, so it's quite physically demanding. So as long as I can physically do the job, I'll do it. So, but I am definitely. I'm going to. By the time I'm 60. I'd like to be on 3 days a week, so I'd like to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Right.
And then
that's pretty good.
Yeah, and then because I'd still earn enough, I'd still get to meet people because I think this is one of another reason for starting the podcast was to do this because there's not a lot of this goes on anymore, is there? You know, it's kind of like I said, it's almost an extension of the business.
Yeah.
So I get to meet fabulous people. Because like one guy, there was a girl I met today actually, and I'm just having a crack as I do. What you do, blah blah blah. And it turns out she's some sort of like animation-ist, whatever an animator.
Animator.
Yeah. An animator.
Oh, an animatorist.
She draws pictures and turns them into, makes them move.
Yeah.
So, but she works for like Disney and all these things, and she lives in Penrith, and it's like, oh my God, she's been doing it for 12 years, and it's like, little does she know, but she's going to be sitting there one day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it's that thing, because if it was just like, can I have a cheese and meats, please? Yeah. Do you want salt and pepper? That would be whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, but because I'll say what you've been up to today and blah blah blah,
definitely,
you get a bit of,
definitely.
And that is missing in society.
You know, we do a thing. Other things that we do. One thing we do. It's called Cine North.
Yeah.
And essentially, we raise the money to. So a cinema essentially is a projector, some speakers, a DVD player or Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
Have I missed a bit out of the kit? A screen. Yeah. There you go. Bottom line is it's that. But also, people don't particularly realise, but you've got, if it's public showing, you've got to pay a royalty. So we arrange the payment. You know, you want film, but we share these kits. We've got 10 kits that we share across the north of England.
Yeah.
Massive scheme it is. And my interest in cinema, not that great really.
Right.
As much as it is yours, you know, I like watching a film like anyone else does. It's kind of, it's not like that's my passion.
No,
why we do it is bring people together.
Yeah.
And we kind of work. So the villages that are part of our scheme, and I think there's 16 of them in Eden.
Yeah.
So there's these little things just happening everywhere. We go, you do food with that, don't you? And you maybe do a talk with that, you know, if it's a film about something that somebody happens to know about, or set in a place that somebody, get them in your village, get them to talk about it, or whatever. And these villages, you know, sometimes it's only 20, 30 people. I'd say only 20, 30 people coming together. But that's a lot. And it's important that they do that, and then do this.
And then do this.
Just chat.
Yeah.
I think as you were sitting there earlier when you were saying about is it the pub? Is it the pub that's, you know? So when I was younger, you go to the pub, and it was really kind of normal that you could even go on your own.
Yeah.
And somebody would start talking to you.
Yeah.
It was not even a thought that you'd have to go with some other people.
Yeah.
But now going out, it's an arranged thing.
Yeah.
And oh, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Actually, I think I mentioned it. I spent a bit of time in Ireland over the past year. They're still at it. Yeah. Particularly sort of down West Coast and stuff.
Yeah.
West Cork rather.
Yeah.
They're these communities of you know, it's like a cliche. You walk in there and there's somebody playing a tune.
Yeah. But it is though, isn't it? It is exactly like that.
Yeah, singing an anti-British song. Don't mind, do you?
Where were you in 1981?
I'm all right, whatever, don't care. But you know, and you kind of, when you see that happen, you're going, oh, have we lost that?
Yeah.
And so then you kind of, you know, by doing this, by talking to people, you kind of, I think it's good to be sort of keeping the tradition of socialising and communicating with. And it's not with your bubble. It's, you know, that was the thing about that thing in the pub, wasn't it? There'd be some lunatic. Next to you, who's got a completely different outlook on life to you. And that's good.
It is. Totally. It is. But like you say, nowadays it doesn't seem to happen, does it?
No.
As much. Perhaps.
No, not as much. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, we're all for the pub trade, so we're not, you know, support it and everything. But we can't. It's kind of it's different. You know, I mean, maybe it's because I'm older as well. Like,
I mean,
when I was young, I was in the pub every night.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll still go out by myself. Yeah. I'll go out regularly to the Brickyard in Carlisle.
All right.
And mainly because my music taste compared to other people's is like very eclectic. So I've got friends that I'll go with, but if no one wants to come, I'll quite happily go by myself. And I'll go to music things by myself, plug and play it, Penrith players, and. But whether it's because you're going to something like that, so you meet people that are like-minded, so you generally start talking to somebody anyway.
Good. And, you know.
But like you say, I don't know. Society seems to be losing that. Just turning up at the boozer and.
It's different, isn't it? It's different. Things have changed, and we've got to be careful about losing things. Because I'm not sure that is the case. It's just shifted, and you know, we've been bounced around by things like COVID and stuff. It's kind of, you know, the TV and the screens and the stuff, and you know, definitely I noticed it got to a point in my life where, you know, it's. Let's something on Netflix, and a glass of wine. I had a thing actually. I really clocked the moment. I was living in a village actually down south where I lived before I came here, and we had this courtyard, a house with a courtyard, and we replaced the gates. And the gate before, the old gate was a 5 bar, so it was open.
Yeah.
Part of this was because we didn't want the kids and the dogs and everything to potentially be able to get through and all that stuff. But we put some on that you couldn't see over.
Right.
And I clocked this happening and thought, whoa,
you kind of,
so we had this kind of cut and we closed
the world out.
We were not communicating in that village. The shop had shut. The pub wasn't very good, as it happens, in that one. And then I really kind of made a active decision to go and join in with some various
stuff
things
that's going on.
You know, just or go and watch the local lads playing the football team, or you know, just hang around and see. You know, before you got chased off. You know.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You again.
Yeah.
We rang the police. Yeah. You got 10 minutes.
you can't not dressed like that, you know. It's kind of it's odd. Penguins watching football. But you kind of got you know, these changes in the world, losing whatever. We've still got a part to catch ourselves, haven't we?
Yeah.
And go. All right, I've gone. It's even, isn't it? I'm sure it happens to you. Kind of just speaking to somebody. So, you know the difference. You've been on a train journey or something.
Yeah,
and you kinda,
yeah.
You can go like that, or you can go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. And do you know what? I think it's because I've stood for so long and I've watched people for so many years, and you get to see people, and you watch how they interact with people, and you think, I like that. I'm going to start doing that. You know, and there's a guy in particular, and some people might find him really annoying, but he'll just strike up a conversation with anybody, and I think that's kind of like a skill in a lot of ways, isn't it? Yeah. You know, because there'll be people listening to this now that wouldn't say boo to a goose, would they? You know, but it's like he'll just, how you doing, lad? Yeah, blah 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 blah, and then sometimes the people will respond. Sometimes they'll get up and move.
Sometimes they call the police.
But you think, but he don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's coming back to that thing. Just do what you want to do. Be yourself. And he's himself. He's genuine. And he's just. And I've watched him over the years, and people come, and because people have routines, so you see everybody's routines. And there's this one guy comes on his motorbike, and they'll sit together and they'll chat away. You know, they'll have a coffee together, and their initial contact was just him. How you doing, mate? Nice day, and whatever. And it's now become like a bit of a friendship, you know. And it's things like that that potentially might get lost. You know, as more and more people are becoming more and more insular, and they're not coming out of the houses, because everything's getting delivered nowadays. You've got Deliveroo, Just Eat. You know, everything's delivered to your door. You don't really. You can put these goggles on and experience the world instead of actually getting out the door and going and experiencing it. Yeah. You can. You don't have to leave your room anymore. Yeah. So, and I think that's a shame, because things like that will kind of stuff. And people are probably listening and go, yeah, but you can chat online, and I know you can, and it probably.
But it should be in chat online as well, shouldn't it? You kind of like do that as well, because it is great, you know.
Of course it is. Yeah.
But if it's just catching yourself, isn't it?
It is.
But that's about everything. Catching your health, your attitudes, your prejudices, catch yourself. Just going, hang about. What am I just turning into a dull thing? That's, and then you know, because you know, my big fear is is regret. I don't want to go. Oh, you should have got your should have got your shit together. You should have. You know, when you were feeling like that, you wanted to change. Yeah. You should have changed. Yeah. You should have just gone for it. You know.
Because where's the rule book that says you can't? Yeah. There isn't one. You can change your life now completely. You can turn it upside down. Yeah. Be the person you want to be. Be the person. You just try and be someone else. You know, just do it. And I'd say that to anyone listening. Just do it.
But knowing it can feel hard. I mean, you're talking there about people just talking to people. You know, shyness can be a real thing.
I was mega shy. I know it's really difficult to believe.
I don't want to say anything.
I would not talk to a girl at all. I was a bit of a class clown when I was younger, and I think it was that humour. You learned that by making people laugh, it was kind of like a good thing. And but
they don't want to kiss you.
But if a girl even looked at me, I'd go bright red, look at the floor. I I was so shy.
Yeah.
And now, and people can't believe that when I've told people in the past, they say, "You shy?" I said, "Yeah, you would not believe it." So, yeah, I can kind of see both sides, you know, because I've been there. I've been really shy. I understand what it's like to be totally dumbfounded about what to say or do when someone says something to you. But then, I don't know. I suppose I've been lucky in that respect that I've had 30 years to practice this kind of persona that I've now created. So which is, and it's been on the mean streets of Penrith. It's like people call me the Huggy Bear of Penrith.
Huggy Bear? What?
Do you remember Huggy Bear?
Yeah, he's a dealer, wasn't he?
Yeah, we'll talk about that off camera.
Well, that was Huggy Bear, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's had that walk.
Yeah.
Huggy Bear.
I might,
There's definitely things about you that I don't know then.
Daddy Tim, the potato pin.
It's in the potato.
It's just a potato.
Yeah, it's underneath the beans. Like, it's a bit soggy, though, isn't it? That's not going to work. Yeah.
Well, I think we'd better, before we start going off tangent and being silly, I think
before we start,
people are going, I've been sitting here for an hour listening to this crap. When are you going to say something interesting?
I don't know. We'll have to listen back and go,
oh, did we really say that?
Well, I mean, I like it. It just feels like a chat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And which is that the point we've just been talking about?
Exactly.
Like, that's good. And I can easily just be sitting at home going, open another bottle of wine.
True. Yeah. But now I think we've covered all bases tonight, haven't we? Yeah. Hopefully.
Oh, there's other bases.
Yeah.
No, we haven't covered all the bases. No.
Maybe we should do a part 2.
Yeah.
So,
but thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. Thank
Appreciate
you so
what you're saying as well about what we do in the
and
droving and stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm not making it up. I really truly believe it.
Yeah.
So
good.
It's been fabulous.
Yeah.
Fab, excellent, Adrian. Right. So I hope you've enjoyed this show as much as we have. I think we came across that we both had a bit of fun. So anyway, tune in next week for more fun and games. Who have we got next week? Oh yeah, I've got someone good again next week. I do try and keep the guests all nice and varied and different. So yeah, next week will be completely different from this one. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Thanks guys. Cheers. See ya. There we go. That wasn't too painful, was it?
No.